welcome everyone to episode 117 of the internet sensation known as Triple Threat Talk, and Big B is actually doing very well in pick'ems. I am your host, Gary the Dr. Locker, joined as always by Big B, Brandon DeMuro, and Postmaster Jones, Mr. Jimmy Biggers, fresh off his meet and greet with one Mr. Tony Stewart. How was that?
That was good. It was a good time. A lot of people turned out. It was good to see him. He looked to be in good spirits. Looked a little tired. He looked like he lost some weight.
Now, the dying question we all want to know, and for those watching at home, all 10 of you.
Yes!
Did you give him the Valentine's Day card?
Well, of course.
Okay, good.
I even put it in a pink envelope.
Good, because that was...
And wrote hearts in XL.
I had a lot of sleepless nights last week because I couldn't think if you got him the card.
I'm sure you did. Yes. I'm sure you did.
Before we get going here, it's not something I like to do, but I have to admit I was wrong last week with the Seahawks.
More often than not.
Yeah. With the Seahawks about fine and funneling. There was a site that I generally go to get a little bit of research. Yeah, we're not going to mention their name. I will not be going to that website anymore, but it was up. We tried to trace the story down. Big B did a little bit of research. He was unable to find the site afterwards. Every now and then, sometimes we've all done it where we've gotten a little bit of breaking news and we just kind of run with it. It's not something we like to do, but it got me this time. In the future, we will be definitely more mindful of that. So I do apologize to Big B and all the other Seattle Seahawks fans out there. Now I'm just waiting for one or two of those fans to apologize to me. But anyways, be that as it may, let's continue on with a little bit of questions.
All right, questions this week, short and simple, just 3. 2 from the Buck and 5, and 1 from Against All Odds.
Spoil it.
What?
No, there's no...
Now they're just going to shut it off after
there's no mystery
questions.
No, exactly. So, with this year more than half over, what is your match of the year so far? And what is your sports moment of the year so far?
Match of the year. Oh, boy.
Yeah, boy. Yeesh, he says, yeesh.
I don't know. I can't think of one. It's not that it's not this case here where I can't think of something. I don't think I've seen a match that just stands out like, wow, yet. I don't know if I've seen it yet.
I think we have. I'm just trying to jog my memory. There's been several good ones, but I'm trying to I
thought Punk and Lesnar was good. From
which one?
Wasn't it the one recently at SummerSlam? Was that SummerSlam?
You had made a point as to one was seeing somebody on Raw, Dolph Ziggler, and somebody on Raw that you thought was a match of the year candidate that I
wait a minute.
With.
The match with RVD and was really good. It was it might have been RVD and Dolph Ziggler.
Maybe.
I don't know.
But you had said that one Dolph
match
Ziggler
of the year is kind of hard.
Really,
it's hard to look at.
But how about sports moment of the year?
Like there could be positive, there could be negatives. I mean, the negatives.
In your mind, the sports moment of the year so far for you. What'd you say for you personally?
Moment of the year personally. I have to go with my own sport. I think Andy Murray winning Wimbledon. 77-year drought. I think that's a pretty big deal. No one's won it since 1936. Yes, I could do math. I think it's a big deal. I think Murray winning Wimbledon is probably sports moment of the year for me.
You know what? I don't really like to put tennis in the sports year of the moment, but I'm going to have to agree with him because it did break that drought from the 30s and because it has to do with Andy Murray. I think that was a big accomplishment, especially not only winning it in the Olympics, but winning it the actual Open as well in the same calendar year. That was pretty impressive.
For me, just happened recently, but it's definitely worth mentioning as one of the biggest performances of the year. Peyton Manning throwing 7 touchdown passes.
It just happened.
Against the Baltimore Ravens.
Now, see, I think you're being a little bit too eager here to name Peyton Manning because he does play the Jaguars later in this year. He might throw more than 7.
It's true.
He might throw 14.
It's true.
It could be 100 enough.
Could be. It could be. Also from the Buck and 5.
Another one.
Do you think that the WWE has based certain storylines or characters off of events that have happened in the real life in the world at the time?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, you have to remember they have writers all from different backgrounds. They have writers from Conan. They have different writers from different parts of media. that come up with these ideas. I mean,
speaking of writers, congratulations to the writers of the Colbert Report. That was pretty cool that they won the Variety Show Award for.
We're going over the Emmys now?
No, I just
was going to say, because we got to throw out a shout out to our boy Jim Parsons if that's the case.
Yeah, right.
Well, they might as well just rename that award. He wins that every year.
Jim Parsons.
So last year he didn't win. But anyway, we can think like the hurricane, and there's certain things you could see where they get certain things from with these characters, where they draw from something. They don't get ideas. I mean, they have ideas of their own, obviously, but there's things they draw from aspects of life and aspects of TV, movies, whatever, comic books that they get these characters from.
I think they got the Shield a lot from SEAL Team 6. I've heard a couple.
Yeah, I heard that. I heard that.
Kind of like that. I'm not sure who the Wyatts would be, but that would.
I think the Wyatts is their own. Well, I know Bray Wyatt said he based off his character off of Robert De Niro in Cape Fear.
Okay.
I do know, like not now, but way in the early '90s, the whole thing with Hulk Hogan and Sergeant Slaughter, that was based off of Operation Desert Storm, and Hogan being, of course, America, and Sergeant Slaughter being for Iraq and Saddam Hussein,
which was kind of weird.
Yeah,
it was weird seeing Sergeant Slaughter be.
But just an example.
That's where they get something.
From Against All Odds 20, with WWE's huge roster, why are they not being used? And they keep using the same people with different gimmicks.
We actually discussed this earlier.
We did.
It seems like they're just using Orton, Bryan, and the Shield, and then on Raw, on SmackDown, you have those three as well, those people as well, plus Del Rio and RVD thrown in. I don't know, I mean, they're using certain people to do other things, like they're using people like Dolph Ziggler and other people to be in this like group of anti-Triple H and Stephanie people, or they're getting punished or whatever. Big Show's getting used somewhat, but he's getting used to punch people out with.
I had to make sure that was right.
With Stephanie and McMahon, and making her do that, making him do that. I don't know what it is. They need to start. I mean, Cody's gonna come back. Obviously, he came back on Raw. I don't know. They have a lot of talent. I mean, Cena's obviously out. Sheamus is out due to injury, so they need to use more people. They need to really. They have such a deep pool of people to use, and the fact of using the same people over and over again it's kind of bad on their part, because they have such a big pile of talent they could be using, and then
that's apparently Triple H calling to tell you do not know what's best for business. He knows what's best for business.
Yeah, but to conclude my point, I think they need to start really branching and using people more. I mean, I do like RVD being used, but they need to use like Christian, and when Cody comes back, I've used him. Damien Sandow, that's just awful. Ryback.
Hey, what are you doing? Drink that water.
I like Curtis Axel, but I wish he would defend the title more. I wish they would use him more.
I know.
Instead of wheeling around
the Big Show is basically Stephanie McMahon's punching authority.
Pretty much.
I agree with him. I mean, they do need to do a better job. They have an allure of talent, and they're not using them all to their best ability. No. I get why they use the ones they're using. It makes sense, because they're the ones that get the most reaction from the crowd, which is what you want. You're all about entertaining the fans, whether it be to make them mad or to make them happy. It's one way or the other. So I don't look for them to change a whole lot. I think if you look back in time, there's always been like that core group of like 8 to 10 people that they use the most, and then some that they use here and there, some that they use not hardly at all. It's always been that way, and it'll always continue to be that way. It's just how things are. It's just like if you had a basketball game and you always use the same 5 or 6 guys to play on the court that night. Well, more often than not, that's the same 5 or 6 guys you're going to see, and you're not going to see the guy that normally sits 4 seats down on the bench that often. That's kind of the way I look at it.
And I think I would agree with that. And even when they start getting a little bit irrelevant, we saw it a little bit in the run-in on last weekend that went into this week. They had people that aren't getting used a whole lot, like Gabriel and Zack Ryder and a few other people, just to kind of go in with some of the main guys like the Usos, Dolph Ziggler, and RVD. So, but yeah, I think I would agree with that all in all. Every now and then they figure out ways to, kind of creative ways to bring people that aren't being used a lot into the limelight, like with 3MB. I thought that was a great idea to bring together three talents that didn't get a whole lot of airtime.
I thought one of Triple H's projects was to repackage Drew McIntyre.
That would be awesome.
I haven't seen anything like that at all. I don't know if he's still working on it. I don't know what he's doing. But another question to this point, and we'll wrap up with this. Do you think that they're using the same base of people because Cena's out? They don't want to push anyone new. They're just being safe at this point.
Probably.
I think so.
Probably.
I think one of the other things that we're going to see is I think Daniel Bryan will win the title coming up at Battleground. I see the storyline kind of wrapping up. You know, you've already got the Rhodes brothers coming in, like happened on Raw. You've already got them coming in and doing kind of engaging the boss and the bosses or whatever, and the Shield, and kind of throwing that back out in their faces. And I think the whole thing will wrap up probably at Battleground or thereabout. And I think Vince McMahon will come out and kind of. I think somebody had said, was it one of us or one of the viewers that said that Vince McMahon was going to embrace Daniel Bryan as the face of the company?
I think it might have been a viewer. I don't.
But it was. I think that will be the idea that it comes to light.
Yeah. So that does it for views or questions. Thank you for all your comments, concerning questions. I think I said questions twice. Queries and criticisms.
So with that, we'll anoint this week's viewer of the week, and I guess since he had 2 questions, we'll anoint the Buckin' 5 as viewer of the week. So Buckin' 5, you are this week's episode 117
Viewer of the Week.
So with that, we will move right along here and get right into headlines. And so with that, Big B.
What?
Cue the music, please.
The cheesy music?
Yes, it's very cheesy.
That cheesy music.
Cheese away.
Doctor, give me the news. I got the bad case of the headline blues.
Yeah.
Woo!
Yeah.
So let's see, wait. So we have Richard Simmons went to the oldies, and now we have Gary's moving the hips or something.
That's right. Don't forget it. It's catching fire. Caught fire last year.
Jay Glazer.
Yeah, Jay Glazer.
Just to let the folks know, we're going to kind of interrupt headlines a little bit. Coming up here in a little bit, we have a special guest on the show, Liz Matthews from 710 ESPN in Seattle. So
it'll be fun. I can't wait to talk to them about Bobby Wagner and his progress as.
It'd be good to catch up with the what's going on over there in the Big West,
Pacific Northwest.
Yeah, exactly. So
before we get into too much headlines, we'll start it off with a little bit of NCAA football and go over our Heisman Watch, which since we do have a member of a local sports team in, we are kind of keeping a little bit more tabs on than we usually would. Right now, first in points is Marcus Mariota. Second is Johnny Manziel. Third, Teddy Bridgewater. Fourth, Taj Boyd. And 5, A.J. McCarron. So I thought that one thing that kind of bothered me this week, and we'll go right into it, U of L 72-0 win over FIU. Yeah, definitely sleeper. One of the things that really kind of jumped out at me, even though the coaches poll doesn't really mean much, the U of L, instead of going up, they did drop a spot in the coaches poll. They stayed steady in the AP poll. So my question to you guys is this. Why, and I would even have to say that was a little bit uncalled for. Why do you think coaches drop U of L instead of lifted them up?
I don't know. Their strength of schedule obviously does hurt them. I mean, the game itself was very one-sided, and on the score, I did just tell that. I mean, Florida International had 30 yards of total offense, and at one point in the fourth quarter, they talked to the officials in Louisville Obliged, saying no matter what happens, they call a timeout or an injury.
But they can't do running clock.
Change possession.
It never was a running clock. They said they were just more liberal with the use of the clock. They would take their sweet time setting the ball,
I think
starting the play clock.
If they wanted to bounce the clock.
Right, but that was kind of their way of doing a quote-unquote running clock, per se.
I mean, once Louisville got to a huge lead, every play Florida International ran was a run. They wanted to get out of Louisville so fast it wasn't funny.
Pretty bad.
Yeah.
So with that, we'll take a quick break. When we come back from this break, we'll have more in the headlines right after this. Stay tuned, Triple Threat Talk. Don't go anywhere.
The game's on the line, you're the star of the team. You deserve to smell fresh with a confident clean. You took a 40-minute shower and missed the second half of the game.
And welcome back here on Triple Threat Talk. Postmaster Jones, Jimmy Biggers, along with Big B, Brandon DeMiro, and the Doc, Gary the Dr. Lockard. Before the break, we were talking a little college foosball.
I think Big B's not too far off on that. I think it's because as far as U of L dropping a spot in the coaches poll, I think their coaches think the coaches see that the strength of schedule is there. Back with this series was set up 4 years ago, so you can't really blame them for not knowing. Like you said, I think pretty much everyone agrees that you can't blame U of L for their poor schedule.
I don't think you can.
I don't think you can.
Like you said, they were supposed to play Georgia.
Yeah.
Georgia bought out of their hand.
Yeah.
Then they were going to play Texas A&M or Texas Tech.
Texas A&M would have been a great game.
One of them two. Well, they couldn't get them to agree.
Yeah.
And they were going to try to play Alabama or Ohio State, but they couldn't get them to agree either. And I know it wasn't here last week, so I don't know if they covered this or not. And I don't remember mentioning this 2 weeks ago. I don't think we did. But one quick thing to note, U of L will start playing Notre Dame
next year,
starting in 2017.
Oh, sorry.
Well, they're coming here in 2017. They might start playing them next year up there, but they're coming to Louisville in 2017.
But yeah, this schedule with FIU was set up 4 years ago. 2 years
when they were
ago.
good.
Yeah, when they were good. Of course, they beat U of L the first year. They beat U of L the first year. They played in a river. They lost by 7 and played in a river. And then over the season end, they graduated 30 seniors.
That's a little hard when you graduate 30 seniors. And one of them named T.Y. Hilton.
Yeah.
Just saying. Yeah. Just saying.
And
look where he's doing.
FIU counts, and of course, next year U of L goes to Miami to wrap up that series. It's one of for sure.
At least next year they'll have a better schedule.
I think they will.
They're playing Florida State. Mm-hmm. They're playing Miami, who looks really good now. Clemson. Oh my God.
Teddy, please say one more year.
The thing is though, Teddy. Well, again.
Hey, I'm gonna say this.
The thing is, I want Teddy to go because it looks like he's
going to be number one.
I don't want him to turn into Matt Barkley. I don't want him to do that because when he should have left, he stayed and his stock really dropped. I think his best time to leave is now, especially since he's a Heisman candidate and
he's right now. He
could go undefeated.
Number one in the mock draft, according to Sports Illustrated.
He could go undefeated, but if he stays next year, and if Taj Boyd, because Taj Boyd could go too. You would have Teddy versus Taj if Taj
and Jameis Winston.
And Jameis Winston.
Three of the best quarterbacks in college football in one conference.
Incredible.
That would be.
But I think either you or him said Louisville's schedule strength was poor. Poor is not a correct word for it. Of 120 schools, there are 111.
Yeah,
that's pathetic.
Pretty bad.
I will say this though, I think Will Gardner is going to be pretty good.
Yeah, but not Bridgewater.
No, he's not going to be Bridgewater good, but I think he's going to be pretty good.
But again,
he has the height. He has the size. He has a very good arm.
I mean, it's not. I mean, we don't want to be selfish here. I want Bridgewater to go to the NFL.
If he wants to go, and if he has the opportunity to be top 3 in the draft, go, dude.
Don't be Matt Barkley because look what happened.
Make your money and run, even if it is just I feel sorry because you're probably going to end up like Tim Couch because you're going to end up either on the Browns or the Jaguars, and you might not be in the league very long because you're on a crappy team. But go make your money, set yourself up for the rest of your life, set your family up. I don't blame you for going, dude. I mean, dude, he's awesome to watch.
Well, I mean, look at the Colts. Look how bad they were before Luck got there.
That was only 1 year.
Well,
they never would have been that bad had 18 went away.
The neck.
Let me ask you this. Get off subject for a second. If you were Jim Irsay.
Who say?
Jim Irsay, owner of the Colts. Looking at it now, I know Andrew Luck is playing well. I know that they made the playoffs last year. But looking at the way Peyton Manning, and we'll get into Peyton Manning here in a little bit, with the way Peyton Manning is playing right now, if you're Jim Irsay, are you going, did I make a mistake?
No. I think as good as Peyton is playing, which I don't think good's even the right word. I think it's a word that I can't think.
Phenomenal.
Phenomenal's not even strong enough. I don't know what it is. But I think in terms of, Peyton's playing at a level that I don't think we've ever seen before, especially someone at his age.
15 straight.
But I think in terms of where he wants to go with the franchise, I think it was a good move because Luck's going to be there for
at least a
long time.
Probably another good 8-10 years.
Yeah, at least a couple, at least 10 to 12 years. Depends on injuries and all that other stuff. But I think it was a good move because they had 1 year where they were horrible, but look who they got now. And now the Colts are a team. Now the Colts are a Super Bowl team. They could easily go Super Bowl and easily win. They are definitely a legitimate team. Mm-hmm. I think Luck with that team has a good staff. Trent Richardson, I think, is going to be good. Darius Hayward-Bay, Reggie Wayne. They got a lot of good team. They got a team up there in Indianapolis. I think honestly the two best teams in the AFC I think are Denver and Indy. Other than that, I don't see anybody that's really a standout.
I still don't understand these people saying that New England is still a Super Bowl contender.
New England is not that good.
They're just saying that because they're winning, which is not good.
And they're beating nobody.
They have played absolutely nobody.
Again,
They beat the Bucks, they beat the Jets, and they
barely beat the Jets,
and they beat the Bills.
The only team that they've played that they've impressed me by playing is the Bills, and that was it. Everybody else,
and they should have lost to the Bills.
But the thing is, I know we don't agree on this show, but I think we'll all agree on this one. Miami's the best team in that division.
I think so.
Miami's the best team.
I agree with that.
If Miami played New England, Miami would win.
Right now, especially without the receivers.
If New England gets Gronk and he's like 100% Gronk, and they get Amendola and he's 100%, then I might give the edge to New England because those receivers are what make New England.
You know why Miami is the best team in that division?
Why?
Ryan Tannehill? Yeah. Meet Mike Wallace. Mike Wallace? Meet Ryan Tannehill.
He wants the ball, he got the ball.
I don't understand how a player, and we're going to talk, actually, you know what, we're getting off topic. Let's finish up.
Right, yeah.
Okay. All right.
Go ahead and finish your statement.
I'm going to say, I don't understand how Mike Wallace could be such a non-factor in Pittsburgh, and then immediately, like, he makes an impact hitting the ground running.
Do they have other people to throw to or no?
Yeah, not many other options, but...
Well, I think when Mike Wallace was there, they're a running team, which they can't do now.
I don't see how you can call him a running team. Rashard Mendenhall was terrible out there. I mean, he had maybe a half of a good season, just like Chris Johnson had at the Titans. That doesn't make the Titans a running team.
I think the Steelers have been like a running type of team, and they just can't do it because they don't have an offensive line. But anyway, back to the topic.
By the way, this past week, UK does escape their bye week with a win.
Congratulations, UK.
Squeaked it out.
Who did they play this week?
Number 20, Florida, with Jeff Driscoll out with a broken leg.
I'll say this, though. His backup looked outstanding.
His backup was pretty good.
His backup looks better than him.
I wonder how that stepdaughter enjoyed the game.
So let me get this straight. You play Florida this week.
Uh-huh.
You play Alabama next week.
No, we play South Carolina.
South Carolina.
And then Alabama.
And then Georgia.
And then Georgia.
Ouch.
Yeah.
Ouch.
That's L's across the board.
Ouch.
The only one that I'm seeing might be a win is this week, Florida. It's just because of a new quarterback, and I know if there's anything Stoops knows how to do, it's defend new quarterbacks.
Yeah. Well,
I think that
if you want to go by logic, which it would be stupid logic, but if you want to go by logic, Louisville crushed Florida in the Sugar Bowl.
Right.
Kentucky barely lost to Louisville.
Right.
So
we should be able to beat Florida.
You should be able to beat Florida.
That's good logic. I like that.
It should happen, but I don't.
I would love to see it just because of all the streaks of all the streaks going on that we've broken. Florida is the one that still continues. I would like to see Kentucky get in there and snap that streak of 28 years now of Florida without a win. But big game of note this week, Alabama hosting number 21 Mississippi. What does Alabama need to do in this game to stay undefeated?
Show up.
I think so.
Show up.
I disagree.
Okay.
They didn't play that good against Colorado State.
Who?
Alabama.
Well, yeah.
They didn't play that good. They haven't played that good.
No.
I mean, they played good against Texas A&M.
They were able to keep pace.
They were able to keep pace with Texas A&M.
Yeah.
But their defense is not that good.
No,
this
sure.
year.
I agree.
Alabama's defense is not that good.
But again,
and Ole Miss could pull the upset.
Historically, if you saw the Book of Manning last night,
I will.
Historically,
I DVR'd it.
Historically, Ole Miss and Alabama don't really.
I'm just saying. I think this will be a closer game than what you're leading up to. I think Ole Miss is going to keep it within 2 touchdowns.
And see, I think I disagree with that. I think Ole Miss, to me, they haven't really. Whereas I see that Alabama kind of dismantled Texas A&M, and the fact that they were down so much.
Well, and it came out so fast,
and they scored so many points up front. Alabama weathered that storm and came back and won by a touchdown.
Clearly, the other team has a defense, though. Neither of them.
Yeah, but they don't have a defense.
That is true. Their defense is untested, and all you have to do is you have to pick on the right places. Right. And I think that I just don't think that as not put together, I'll say that, as Alabama's defense is. I think one big factor is that Mississippi might have a less put together defense. Yeah. And I think A.J. McCarron is that good. So, I guess clear as he's number 5 in the Heisman watch. Right. So, some other scores of note: Ohio State destroys destroys another weak opponent 76-0. Washington goes 56-0 over Idaho State. Baylor scores 70 over Louisiana Monroe, who had 7 points, and
Miami defeats Savannah State 77-7.
2 notes about those previous scores. Miami, they were favored by 60, and I said, I take Savannah State and run. They covered the spread and then some. And then Baylor, they could have scored 100 points. They had 63 in the third quarter early, and they could have scored 100, but they kind of let up a little bit.
And it was the most teams to score 70 points in a week in over a decade. That's crazy.
77 points.
So apparently, according to video and according to the doc, when I'm not here, NASCAR doesn't exist.
That's right.
Apparently, NASCAR it doesn't exist. It's
They're staying in pit row. They don't go anywhere.
Skid row.
They don't go left. Apparently, when I take a vacation,
they put it in park and put their feet up.
You guys put it in park and we don't discuss it. What the heck?
Well, you're the guru.
That doesn't matter. We still talk. Well, never mind. You're always here.
You're in winner's lane and we're in the pit row.
Damn it! I was gonna say we always talk tennis when you're not here, but you're always here. You're never not here.
So as Penn's, whether tennis news happened or not this week, we will not cover it.
The only tennis news that happened, Novak Djokovic got engaged. That's it.
Woo!
Who did he get engaged to?
His girlfriend.
Well, I mean, but what's her name?
I don't remember.
So speaking of NASCAR, Matt Kenseth sweeps the first 2 races of the chase. Since we didn't talk about last week, since I wasn't here, he sweeps the first 2 races of the chase. Kyle Busch finishes second the first 2 races of the chase. So Matt Kenseth, Kyle Busch, and Jimmy Johnson are your top 3 in points. Kyle Busch is about 18 points behind, 14 points behind. Jimmy Johnson 18 or 19 behind. And the rest of the drivers are, starting with Carl Edwards in 4th, is 30-plus points behind already. So by the looks of things, it's looking like a 3-horse race already with 8 races to go. But that's why they call it the Chase. They still have Talladega left, which we all know that's a wild card.
Ricky Bobby will be in
Martinsville, which is a short track. It's another wild card type track. And then, 4 mile and a half. So it should be quite interesting. They go to Dover, the Monster Mile this week. So that'll be interesting. That is a Jimmy Johnson track historically. He's won a bunch of times there. So he could gain some ground on Matt Kenseth this week with a win. Matt Kenseth, by winning the first 2 races of the chase, he has now won 7 races this season. So to say that he's on a hot streak would be an understatement. Now
let me ask you this. This is something it's a good question that I think.
All right.
I've kind of wanted to ask this, and I was.
But it's coming from you, so let's paraphrase.
I was picking this week in particular to ask it.
All right.
How did Dover get its nickname?
The Monster Mile?
Yes.
I think the reason why they got its nickname is because number 1, the mascot, Miles the Monster.
Okay.
The trophy is a picture of like Miles the Monster. He looks like something off the movie Small Soldiers. You remember that?
Yeah. The soldiers were the bad guys.
Yes. Well, it kind of looks like that.
Okay.
And it's a big track that looks like Bristol, only it's a mile.
Okay.
And it's pretty cool.
So Dover's in Delaware, right?
Yes.
Exactly.
Hi. I'm in
Delaware.
So I think that was a good question.
Yes, I like it.
Yeah, there you go.
And speaking of other racing, we're going to talk about sailing.
Yeah, I was ready to bring that up.
Sailing.
Is there a typo on my note sheet, or are we really talking about sailing?
We're talking about sailing because this is epic.
All right. Well,
I don't get it.
The America's Cup, and you're like, well, what are you guys talking about sailing in the America's Cup?
Sailing.
Okay. Team USA in dramatic fashion came from behind and won 8 straight. Team New Zealand had to win once. Team USA had to win 8 in a row. They win 8 straight sailing races to win the America's Cup. Outstanding. Team Oracle USA winning the America's Cup. And you're probably like, yeah, okay, woohoo, it's sailing. But
Harvard and Princeton and Yale do that stuff all the time.
But it's like, who here goes 8 in a row? That's outstanding.
Sailing away.
Well, I mean, what was it? The Blackhawks came down.
That's true.
Exactly.
Like 3-0.
And before we head to break, just a real quick note: Hendrik Stenson wins the PGA FedEx
I
Cup.
thought I read the headline. I'm kidding. Go ahead.
So with that, we'll take a quick break. When we come back, we'll have our special guest, Miss Liz Matthews from the 710 ESPN in Seattle. We'll be right back. Triple Threat Talk, PostMaster Jones, The Doc, and Big B. Don't go anywhere.
Run, go, go!
Did he just this fumble. I formation. We have got to get the 3 technique block. I'm not angry. I'm not yelling. Nobody's tackling anybody. We got absolutely.
I don't think this is such a good idea.
I'm on it.
We can't secure the quarterback-center exchange.
You're doing a great job, Coach.
Well, they're coming along better than I anticipated. Very pleased.
Who told you to take a break?
Want to win your own football fantasy? Just tell us. Then use your Visa card for a chance to win it.
And welcome back here on Triple Threat Talk. Postmaster Jones, Jimmy Biggers, along with my co-host Big B, Brandon DeMiro, and the Doc, Gary Lockard. And join us now on the Triple Threat Talk hotline from ESPN 710 in Seattle, Miss Liz Matthews. Liz, how are you doing?
Oh, I'm doing great. Thank you guys so much for having me on the show.
Yeah, no problem.
It's our pleasure. Thank you for joining us on such short notice.
Absolutely.
As you know, just to give you a little bit about us here, we're just a local show out of Louisville, Kentucky. We do like a web-based show. You can find us on the internet and YouTube. We have a website, and then we also do a show here locally on our local public access cable channel. So just kind of get things going here. Big B, I know you wanted to talk to her about this week's matchup.
Yeah. All right, Liz, thanks for joining us once again. This weekend, obviously, Seattle goes to Houston, and obviously Seattle not the greatest team on the road, but Pete Carroll did fix it this year, having them practice 10 a.m. Pacific time. What do you see them doing this weekend when they go play the Texans in Houston?
Well, you know what? I think the first real test was after the first game of the season, the opening game in Carolina. I think everybody was going to kind of watch that game and see the team didn't handle their first 10 a.m. start. They do have 5 this season. You are correct. They did practice at 10 a.m. Pacific time throughout the summer. However, once the regular season began, they've gone back to their 1:30 practice time. So I'm not sure how much these guys' body clocks are back on that early start time. However, there just isn't enough time in the day to do the practice installs in the morning, and they have the full time of practices in the afternoon. So they can only do what they can do. But they did get that win in Carolina, and I think they've got some momentum going from these last couple of wins they've had, and I think that they're just going to have to battle the body clock like everybody else who travels.
Thank you. We also want to ask you here about Percy Harvin's rehab. I know how's he coming along in his rehabilitation, and at what point will he be able to rejoin the team if there are any expectations as of the moment?
Well, I think that everybody wants it back clearly as soon as possible, but I don't think that there's going to be any chance of him really coming back at the earliest until the Minnesota game, which obviously would be exciting for so many reasons. But head coach Pete Carroll did say in his press conference that he's actually returned to New York, where he had his hip surgery to do his rehabbing. He's been here for quite a few weeks, working with the trainers and working out around the facility. However, he has gone back to New York. I would say that's fairly good news. He wants to come back as soon as possible, and it's just sort of a waiting day by day with him.
Moving right along here, I know the guys talked about Percy Harvin and rehab and the matchup this coming week. What do you think that the Coach Carroll and the defensive coordinators are going to do about their defense against Jacksonville? I know the defense wasn't that great. They weren't happy with the performance. What have you seen in practice this week, and what do you think they need to work on to get their defense improved and to be better off?
Well, I think the Seahawks defense is arguably one of the best taking off possession of the league, particularly in the secondary. I mean, they are just powerhouse. And they know the guys were not happy at all. Jacksonville didn't want to give us 8 points at all, but I think the expectations are really high for them. I not only to the coaching staff, the fans, the media around the league, but they really hold themselves up to a high standard. I think that you just need to game plan for what you're going to game plan for. You need to plan for a little bit of particularly number one, they need to stop the run. But some good news is, as far as the pass rushing goes, a lot of the guys on the Seahawks defensive line are back in the practice rotation. They've had a ton of guys out with injuries all throughout the training camp at the start of the season, but one by one they're coming back. So I think having some of the veteran presence in there again, having the starters back in the starting lineup is going to make a world of difference.
All right, I wanted to ask you in particular about one of your bright young defenders, second year out of Utah State, Mr. Bobby Wagner. He's a spectacular linebacker coming up in his own rights, and it's been quite a while, I think maybe since Patrick Willis in San Francisco, since I've seen a linebacker take so quickly to his role in the pros. I wanted to ask you, is there anything in particular that Coach Carroll and the defensive coordinators are doing to help him along? Because I have to say, I'm very impressed with this young man's play over his first 2 years in his career, and it's something on Sundays when I do watch the Seahawks, I'll look forward to not only watching their defense because of how they play, but also because of one Mr. Bobby Wagner. What can you say about that?
You know what, it's amazing, and the first thing that everybody said about him when he joined the team was basically their expectations for him. They saw something in him. They saw that he was going to be a leader. He's got a great natural eye. He's got a perfect read on what the offense is doing. He led the Seahawks in tackles last year. I believe he's leading the Seahawks in tackles already this season. And it was one of those trust issues. Once you put the guy on the field, all they needed to do was trust him, turn him loose, and he's just made a huge difference with this defense.
All right, got a bit of a fun question for you here, Liz. Going into the season right now, going into week 4, the Seahawks are undefeated, 3-0. We all know that. But there's a team in the AFC West that's also 3-0 and undefeated, the Denver Broncos. I know you're up in Seattle. You hear all kinds of Seahawks stuff, and being in the NFC, probably not as much of the Denver stuff with Broncos. But if you were choosing a team right now and you had to pick between the Seattle defense or the Denver offense, who would you take and why?
Man, that is so tough. I don't know if you all recall, but the Seahawks did play the Denver Broncos in the preseason, and everybody kind of touted it like a potential Super Bowl matchup. Gosh, I just really think right now that, boy, Peyton Manning, he's really surprised. I mean, that opening, the season opener when he came out and just threw for so many touchdowns. I mean, the guy continues to set records. However, at some point, and I know that I've talked to some local reporters in Denver there, that weather is going to be a factor there. I don't know that he's going to be able to continue that performance. Whereas I sort of see the Seahawks defense, they're all young guys kind of coming into their own, finding more of a rhythm. So, not to be a homer whatsoever, but I think I'd have to go with the Seahawks defense at this point.
All right, good stuff there.
Good stuff.
Any other questions, guys?
I don't think so. Well, Liz, we really appreciate your time. We appreciate you coming on short notice. We greatly appreciate it, and we look forward to maybe chatting with you again down the road real soon. Maybe we'll be chatting about a possible Seattle-Denver Super Bowl, as you were discussing a little bit ago.
Well, bring the snow. It's not going to be too warm on the East Coast in the wintertime, is it, gentlemen?
I don't think so. Liz, thank you for your time. We greatly appreciate it.
You got it. Have a good one, guys.
All right, thanks. Bye.
The late 90s. A chance meeting at summer camp between young Colin Kaepernick and Russell Wilson sparks one of the fiercest Madden rivalries of our time. They vow to become the greatest mobile quarterbacks in the NFL, so they can someday beat each other with each other in Madden. Their training regimen quickly becomes the stuff of legends. All their years of hard work have led up to this moment. Man versus man. Video game man versus video game man.
Is that how you do it?
A season 25 years in the making. Madden NFL 25. Rated E for everyone.
EA Sports. It's in the can. Official game console of the NFL.
And welcome back here on Triple Threat Talk. We want to thank Miss Liz Matthews for coming on from 17 ESPN in Seattle. Good stuff by Big B, sir. Congratulations.
Good job on the show.
Nailing that interview and getting it down for us. It was very informative.
Yeah, we're filming this Wednesday, and right now, currently at 7:55. Over there, it's almost dinner time.
And it's not even 5 o'clock yet.
It's almost 5 o'clock.
Yeah. I will say, though, I'm a little disappointed. She did take Seattle's offense over Denver's defense.
No, she took
Seattle's defense over Denver's offense.
She's right smart.
What can you do? I can't say I blame her.
It's early.
If wishes were fishes, the world would be an ocean. We know, JR. Thank you for that.
I was grateful for her to do that for us.
Yeah, very short notice. We want to thank her for coming on for sure.
Pretty exciting when we actually got her on when we started. She was saying practice is finished.
Yeah, that was pretty cool. So we called just in time. So with that, We'll keep going with the NFL. We'll recap some of the games from Week 3. Doc?
Ravens 30 over the Texans 9.
Lone predicator that predicted Ravens over Texans.
The Lions 27 over the Redskins 20. Titans get it done over the Chargers 20-17
on a touchdown with less than 20 seconds to go in the game.
That game really hurt. That was one of the games that hurt my picks a lot.
The Patriots get it done over the Bucs 23-3.
That's not saying much.
No, it's not.
The Bengals, in one of the wildest games I have seen in a long time, wrap things up over Green Bay 34-30.
To me, the Bengals didn't win this game. The Packers lost it. I mean, here's the thing.
I don't know if I would agree with that.
Here's the thing. It was 4th down, and instead of going for a field goal, which they were in good range of doing, they go for it. They fumble the ball. Cincinnati returns it for a touchdown, and they ended up winning the game because of it.
But here's the thing. Whenever a quarterback throws 2 or more interceptions, I can't justify saying that they gave someone the game, because to me, Aaron Rodgers just played poorly.
He did play bad.
And not to mention, at one point, he even tried to throw a block against Ray Malaluga that did not work out for him at all.
Nice try, Aaron. Just kind of double check that one.
31-7 is the final score.
I like that State Farm commercial with the 2 Bears fans.
We know who you are.
Discount double check.
Double check. So we got upgraded to first class.
Grilled class.
Grilled class, yeah.
Cowboys 31 over the Rams 7. The Browns get it done in impressive fashion. I will have to say, especially on a week where they started their backup quarterback and where they just got rid of Trent Richardson.
Do you know who he was a backup for?
31-27.
Brian Hoyer?
Yeah.
Who?
Tom Brady.
Interesting.
Just a food for thought.
Your boys and Liz's boys, Seahawks 45 over the Jaguars 17. The Bears embarrassed the Steelers on Monday Night Football 40-23.
Steelers embarrassed themselves.
I want to talk a little bit about that game a little bit later on after we wrap up scores, because there's something that Ben Roethlisberger is doing wrong that I need to talk about. Among other things. Broncos 37-21. We'll talk about Peyton Manning here in just a second as well. Some of the top scores, some of the other scores. If it wasn't for the Panthers and Giants, I would actually have to give embarrassment of the week to my boys. 27-7. They lose to the Colts. Colts take down the 49ers.
Made them look stupid.
Colts are legit.
Embarrassment of the week, though, had to be Panthers 38, Giants goose egg.
Eli Manning, what are you doing?
I don't.
This week, are you sure his last name is Manning?
I think, you know what?
I think his last name was Interception this week.
No, I think his real name is Eli McCown.
It just seemed like this week with Carolina, and again, I still believe in Carolina because they're 1-2 with the Atlanta. Cam Newton just could do whatever he wanted against that defense last week. He did whatever he wanted. He ran, he threw, and the Giants couldn't do anything. They didn't score a single point. Didn't do anything.
Yeah.
I mean, I know the Giants have gone stretches where they were bad. The years they won the Super Bowl, they were not that good the whole year, but then they got hot at the end, and
they were really bad. I mean,
this is
they look bad against the Denver.
Last week,
bad against Carolina.
You weren't here. I said, in New York, is it time to panic? Probably not yet. Press the panic button now. It's bad. It's bad.
It's time to panic.
Not only that, 0-3 in that division isn't that bad because no team is clearly except for Dallas. Dallas is it. But other than that, 0-3 is not that bad because remember the Redskins.
Washington's 0-3. The Eagles are 1-2.
Remember last year with the Redskins, they were 3-6. They won 7 in a row to win the division, so it could happen. But this Giants team just looks awful. Eli's throwing interceptions left and right. The defense can't stop anybody. Tom's going to have to really buckle down and really do something because it looks bad.
Discount double check.
Wrong team.
So, Nate Burleson of the Lions breaks his arm.
We're going to get to him in our idiot of the week.
Oh, okay. All right.
I didn't get some food for thought.
I didn't get that.
Food for thought.
I didn't get that.
Hint.
Food for thought. So I want to do a little bit of quarterback comparison here. You talk. Real quick, 26-16 is the final score on the Chiefs over the Eagles, and I bring this up because Alex Smith with Kansas City. People are talking. This is the topic of conversation. This is the number one topic besides what Peyton Manning did in the NFL right now. The Alex Smith comparison over Colin Kaepernick through Week 3. Alex Smith with Kansas City, 669 yards, 4 touchdowns, 92.1% quarterback ratio. Over his last year with the Niners, 1,737 yards, 13 touchdowns, 5 interceptions with a 104.1 rating. Through week 3, Colin is struggling with 689 yards, 3 touchdowns, 4 interceptions with a 72.5 quarterback rating.
Sophomore slump?
Well,
I don't even think
not
it's
technically, because he's been in the league a couple years.
This is the second year he started.
But he didn't really start fully last year.
But
he started. He's starting full season yet.
I don't think it's a sophomore slump for one reason, and it's the top story in the fact that no other team is as banged up as the 49ers when it comes to starting wide receivers. You have Michael Crabtree out. You have Mario Manningham out. You have Vernon Davis, who missed last week against the Colts. And on defensively now, you have Aldon Smith checking out. We'll talk a little bit more about him in a moment. And you have Patrick Willis had to leave the game with a pulled groin in the third quarter. So
he's out Thursday.
It's one of these things that a lot of San Francisco's players are really hurting, and it's kind of hurting the team because also there's a lot of distractions with the Aldon Smith thing. Aldon Smith, of course, was arrested Friday for drunk driving down I think it was a city street.
7 o'clock in the morning.
7 o'clock.
Also
possession of marijuana. He played Sunday. A lot of people disagree with how he played Sunday. However, during the game cast, as you can imagine, I was listening to the game, a statement was made that had he not played, he could have filed a grievance through the Players Union and could have had a reconciliation against San Francisco.
That's ridiculous.
I do think for that very reason he should have played but maybe been pulled in the second half. I think, and when you're talking about CBAs and players' agreements, what Harbaugh did was the right thing to do to play him. However, it did set a bad example around the league to keep him in. All his contract requires him to do is to start. And I think it's one of those things that when it comes down to it, as long as he stepped foot on the field for a couple possessions, I think the right thing to do after that was to pull him.
Yeah, I think he's in there for one series, then I think pull him.
Yeah, and I think that would have been enough for them to do that. Maybe Harbaugh didn't think about that. When it comes down to it, he's a second-year coach. He doesn't want to step on any of his players' toes. I get that. He and Frank Gore did have a little bit of a spat on the sideline because they were destroying the Colts on the ground with Frank Gore, and then in the second half they didn't give Frank Gore the ball at all. There was a little bit of speculation about that. Frank Gore realized that himself, blew up at Coach Harbaugh. To me, though, I think you had to play Aldon Smith, like I said, at least for a little bit, or else be threatened with legal action against the CBA with his CBA.
Right.
But I know you all have differing opinions, so let's go ahead and.
Well, my only thought about that is, quit babying the players that do something wrong. I mean, yeah, I get he could have filed a grievance, but I think in a case like this, a grievance shouldn't have been allowed in the first place, because if me or you would have got arrested for DUI and marijuana possession, we wouldn't have been on the football field Sunday.
Right.
We would have been in the jail cell. We would have been in the 6x6 cell, and we would have been sitting there. We wouldn't have got out till Monday, because everybody knows you can't see a judge until Monday. But the fact of that is, he shouldn't have played. And I think Harbaugh set a bad example by saying, well, the best thing for him is go to work. Okay, in certain situations, yes. Or if, you're having troubles at home, or there's a death in the family, or, things like that. Yeah, I can see where coming to work might be the best remedy to take care of that. But when you're arrested for the things he's arrested for, number one, it goes back to the point I've made over and over, and I'll keep harping at it. You're paid to play like a professional on the field, and you're paid to act like a professional off the field. I can't say it enough. And in this case, he definitely did not act like a professional. He acted like an amateur. And he acted like a college kid that, just like you said before, you know how 20-year-old college kids can act. That's what he acted like. He thought he was better, In a case like this, it makes you think, well, I'm above the law because I'm who I am. I mean, I'm not saying he said that. I'm just saying the way you act and the way you present yourself in this case makes it look like you think, well, I'm above the law. What I do doesn't matter, So in this case, no, he shouldn't have played. I'm glad that he's agreeing on himself to voluntarily leave the team. I applaud him for that. However,
he knows he's sick.
I think he would have been better off to say, look, I appreciate you all saying I can play on Sunday, but for the betterment of the team, for the character of the team, and for the team's image, I personally remove myself from the game, and I will voluntarily start rehab before this game, not after. I think the fact that he played this game was a black eye for the 49ers franchise, and I think it was a bad move on Jim Harbaugh's side, and I think the excuse he used was just ridiculous.
It's not surprising to me that he got arrested because he's had legal troubles before.
Mm-hmm. This is the second DUI.
He's had issues, since he came into the league, having issues. But again, I agree with him. I commend him for taking responsibility and doing what needs to be done to think of. Obviously he knows he has a problem. He needs to get it fixed, and hopefully he's gone for the month. He said he's going to be gone and do the whole program and make sure he gets clean and needs to do what he needs to do. But I agree. Obviously, I agree. I agree with him saying, you don't want to file a grievance because that's just a whole mess. Deal with that. So I think he should have started, but I don't think he should have played the whole game. So put him in one series and take him out because, again, I agree with him. It's setting a bad example. It's saying that, you do all these things, but you can still do your job. That's not the case. If you do those things, if you get arrested for DUI and have possession of marijuana or whatever drug it may be, you shouldn't be allowed to do your job. You should be punished, and you should be punished saying, hey, you're losing out on a paycheck this week because you made a stupid decision. So, again, he should have started because of the whole grievance, but he shouldn't have been playing the whole game.
Right. And to kind of tie in a point, for instance, Von Miller, it was up to me. He shouldn't play the rest of the year.
He should be out.
He should be out. He should be suspended for the rest of the year.
And I said to him, he's lucky he's playing at all.
And this coming from a fan of the Broncos, he shouldn't play.
Yeah.
He shouldn't play.
Because you were saying on Facebook, I think it was during the game Monday or before that, maybe Sunday, you said we should get Von Miller back week 6. I said to you, he's lucky he's playing at all.
Yeah, he's due to come back against the Colts. And now with this new information coming out that he tried to, cheat the urine test, and actually the guy that took the urine sample was going to switch urine samples, that should be a year-long suspension and a huge fine.
Yeah, good report by Adam Schefter.
I totally disagree with it. He's only getting 6 games. I don't think that's proven anything. That's a slap on the hand. And with the way the Broncos are this year, 6 games is nothing. That's nothing.
I was going to say about the Broncos, they're 3-0. They're playing better than anybody.
Without Von Miller and Champ Bailey, 2 of their best defensive players.
Champ's just injured, so they'll get him back. But I think with Von Miller, they could say, you know what?
If I was John Elway,
we got Wesley Woodyard. We don't need you to win.
We got Danny Trevathan. We got Wesley Woodyard. We got we got Champ Bailey when he comes back. We got Rogers Cromartie.
We don't need you.
We don't need you. Get rid of Von Miller. Wouldn't upset me a bit. I think
trading for a draft pick.
Yeah, I mean,
somebody.
I wouldn't want him. That's a bad apple.
Someone will take him. Cleveland will take him. Jacksonville. Someone.
So I'm not just saying it because it's Alden Smith. I say it for my own team. Yeah. I don't agree that Von Miller should only be suspended 6 games. He should be suspended for the season and should have a huge fine.
He's very lucky.
He's lucky.
Speaking of the Broncos, Peyton is on fire with 1,143 yards, 12 touchdowns, 0 interceptions, with a QB rating of, get this,
in one game,
134.7 QB rating.
Not bad.
So is that the future stat line when he plays Jacksonville?
That is going to be his stat line when he plays Jacksonville.
Yeah.
So Peyton is on fire, clearly. Now, after we get back from the break, we will all answer the burning question: who is the best 3-0 team in the NFL right now? Stay tuned for our answers here.
And pick'ems
on Triple Threat Talk. Stay tuned.
Woohoo!
IWU Louisville knows business. Not only did I earn my graduate degree, but I experienced a well-rounded education that benefits me my entire life.
The enrollment experience here is fantastic. They fit it around my schedule. They know I'm working. They know I have a family. They really took an interest in my goals here at IWU. IWU knows business.
Indiana Wesleyan University, Louisville. Change your life, change your world.
And welcome back here on Triple Threat Talk. Postmaster Jones, Jimmy Biggers, along with the Doc, Gary Lockhart, and Big B, Brandon DeMuro. Before the break, we were, or during the break, I should say, we were discussing what college teams could beat the Jaguars.
I was running through the break. So I said Alabama. We all agreed Alabama could. Oregon.
I don't think so.
A&M.
Yes.
Florida State.
No.
Clemson.
That'd be close.
Because
we all know how bad Jacksonville is, but they're still professional football players, so it's tough to.
Georgia.
No.
South Carolina.
No.
I think Louisville could.
Ohio State could.
I think Louisville could.
I don't know if Louisville could.
With Parker and Bridgewater, I think they could do that.
The thing that bothers me about Louisville is I actually think Blaine Gabbert could read their defense. I do think that.
Gabbert.
You gotta remember though, Jacksonville's defense isn't very good. So if they had a team that's all high offense, like Oregon could probably beat them because their offense is ridiculous.
Yep. So
but again, it'll never happen. So
the burning question you posed before the break:
who's the best 3-0 team in the NFL right now?
Denver is good up there. Seattle.
He's not saying
who's who. Yeah, you can name them all. You can say Miami's doing good.
I mean, also the biggest surprise is Miami.
I think so.
The biggest surprise 3-0 is Miami. The best 3-0 team, I'd say Denver. Denver from top to bottom is the best team. I mean, they don't have the best players still playing well on defense. I see Seattle's a close second because I don't think their offense is hitting its stride yet without Harvin. Russell Wilson's kind of struggling a little bit. But I think Denver just... It's odd to think that Manning at his age now is playing better than he's ever played before. Is strange. But I think it's Denver. Miami's a surprising 3-0 team. I think, the addition of Mike Wallace is a good pickup for Miami, but as far as Seattle's progressed this season, it's great for Miami, I think.
I think you're probably pretty spot on between... It's a close race between Denver and Seattle. If I was choosing today, I would probably go with Denver just because the offense has been a little better for Denver than it has for Seattle.
Again, we both play Jacksonville, so we'll see.
They're both... Denver is number 1 in defensive rushing. Seattle is number 1 in defensive passing. Denver's number 2 in defensive passing, and Seattle's number 2 in defensive rushing.
Pretty good.
it's pretty, so they're neck and neck on defense, and like I said, with the offense, I give the edge to Denver.
I have to say Denver as well. I think the offensive performance, Peyton Manning is definitely not only in the best best shape of his career, best playing of his career. He's also kind of in mid-season form right now, and it's just through week 3, going into week 4.
Does this remind? I know it's running back by committee, and it's not Terrell Davis. Mm-hmm. But does this team not remind you of John Elway's last couple of years?
It kind of does.
A little bit. But I think Terrell Davis is a better running back than they have now.
No, well, yeah, I'm saying because they don't have a Terrell Davis.
Right, yeah.
Right.
They have a core run, which is really good. They're 3 running backs.
I think Moreno's the best of 3 of them.
Having all 3 of them, it's a really...
Would you say Moreno's the best one?
Yeah, probably. Because you got Noshawn, you got Ronnie Hillman, and then you got Ball, but he doesn't know how to hold the football.
Monte Ball.
Monte fumbles the football, what they should call it.
Ball.
Yeah, so...
But the only knock I have on Peyton, he hasn't played a really tough defense yet. First game they played the Ravens,
The Ravens are
inconsistent. They lost a lot of people. It was first game back, so I don't,
The Giants are meh.
And then last week they played the Raiders. So again,
this week they play the Eagles.
So he hasn't have a tough test on defense yet.
He will.
That's the only knock I have on it.
I don't think it matters though.
No, but I'm saying he hasn't played a defense like Seattle or San Francisco or
you were talking about it the other day. He freaking read the blitz before it was coming.
Again,
who does that?
I said to him yesterday, I don't think it's a defensive scheme that Peyton Manning does not understand.
You're sitting there watching the game, and John Gruden pointed out, he said Peyton Manning just read where Tracy Porter was going before Tracy Porter even knew he was going.
That's scary. Something's up there that does not for every quarterback. Something turns in his head saying, that guy's going this way, throw it over here.
And you brought up something from the movie Book of Manning, the documentary. I've yet to see it. I DVR'd. I'm going to watch it. That was really interesting. And I don't know if you saw it yet either. It's probably, you definitely need to check it out from what he said. He said it's very good. But a pretty cool excerpt. Do you know why Peyton Manning gets 2 to 3 plays at a time?
Why is that?
He doesn't like coaches.
Story I'll tell because I told you.
Yeah.
He was playing in high school. He was playing a high school team, and they won one game, and at the end they were ahead by like 37 points, and the coach was like, let's just finish it off. Payne's like, let me call the play. Let me do the play. So he does like a double reverse for a touchdown, and the coach is like saying, why do you need to do that? We're already ahead. So the next game they play, they lose. They lose bad. And the coach says, we lost because we didn't execute. Peyton Manning says, no, we lost because you don't know how to coach. And Archie drove to the coach's house and made him apologize. So
the reason why he gets several plays per play is because he doesn't like coaching. He likes to decide what play it's going to be.
Nice.
He's the maestro out there. He's the maestro.
He is.
He orchestrates the
Like I said, on that one play with Julius Thomas, it was like he knew Tracy Porter was going to bite on the blitz and come in. And Julius Thomas was wide open on the outside, and he just waltzed in.
I don't care what team you're a fan of. I don't care if it's Seattle, Denver, 49ers, or anybody. Watching Peyton Manning is something to behold because once he's gone, I highly doubt I see a quarterback ever like that again that can just read defensive schemes. If he becomes like a defensive coordinator, I'd be scared. Because he would be able to read, or offensive coordinator, some kind of coordinator.
He's going to be a coach. There's no doubt in my mind.
Maybe we should coach Old Miss.
No.
No.
Probably Tennessee.
Tennessee.
All right, so
before we go into pick'ems, that said, I wanted to bring up something about Ben Roethlisberger. Big B, can you roll a clip for me, please?
Ben Roethlisberger?
This is Peyton. This is Ben Roethlisberger throwing motion. Okay. You see that sometimes he throws across his chest, all right, on the pump fake, and he paid for it this weekend when he got a couple tackles. So he got the ball fumbled. Okay, he fumbled the ball. When you throw across your chest like that, that opens you up, that exposes you a little bit more to drop the ball during the fumble. He was doing that a lot, and actually at one point during Monday Night Football, not only did he pump fake, but he pump fake to the outside like he was going to throw a bubble screen, and a defender was right there, right in his way, where had he actually released the ball, he would have thrown it right to the defender of Chicago. It's one of those things that I think that he's used to pump faking so much now, maybe he doesn't even realize he does it, because when you throw across that chest, that's the first thing they tell you as a quarterback. Do not throw across your chest.
And Peyton learned that the hard way last year.
And Peyton did learn that the hard way a couple times last year. But it's one of those things that
he did.
Roethlisberger keeps doing it, and this time it cost him at least 7 points, maybe a couple more against the Bears on Monday Night Football. I don't know what he's doing, but this is not helping his team when it comes down to it.
I don't think that him and Todd Haley get on the same page. No, I think that was evident last year.
I think it's Antonio. When you look at Antonio Brown as well, him and Todd Haley don't get along.
I don't think Todd Haley's the right offensive coordinator for them. I don't think he works for them. It doesn't help that the Steelers' offensive line is just banged up. They have no one to protect him. They want to run the ball, and then they have to decide who they are as a team. They can't figure it out. This is only going to get worse. I mean, I don't see them really improving unless they get some people back healthy.
In another year or two when Peyton Manning retires, he could go be the offensive coordinator for Big Ben.
Oh. No, bad idea.
What if he was?
You know what, though? I don't think Ben has much time left either.
No, I don't think he does.
Because of all the injuries. It's not his fault.
I mean,
he doesn't have an offensive line.
That's one of the teams I mentioned.
He does not have an offensive line.
That's one of the teams I mentioned that could get a quarterback.
I watched pretty much that whole game against the Bears. He does not have an offensive line.
I agree with that. He doesn't. He doesn't
have time to throw the ball.
And but he also needs to help himself though and stop creating turnover possibilities.
Yeah, he does
for the
do
defense.
that. But he also does not have an offensive line. That's pretty obvious. So with that,
Pick'ems.
Week 4 Pick'ems. Big B is in the lead still
by 5 games over the dock.
Yep. So we'll get right into it.
I got 2 years over you. It's okay.
2 years.
2 seasons.
That's true.
Thursday night football.
Thursday.
The San Francisco 49ers against the St. Louis Rams. Oh, you're first.
That's right.
Because you're top 9-0.
They're missing a lot of pieces, the 49ers, but I really have a tough time seeing the Niners going 1-3. I picked the Niners. I really can't see them going 1-3. I'd be shocked if they went 1-3.
I picked the Niners.
I think they get Vernon Davis back. I think Coach Harbaugh is looking on. I've read a little bit around on Twitter, a couple things that he is looking into putting read option in as another kind of scheme going along with play action after they're running the ball. I think they're going to run a lot less read option, but still run it. I do like the Niners, especially if they stick to the game plan that they're putting out there.
That's a weird thing that's going on this year with us. Like, we're not running read option as much.
Yeah.
I haven't seen it a lot. So we'll see.
And another thing with Seattle also is
the Packers and the Panthers.
You all have a lot more receivers than we do right now.
You got a
so
huge depth.
Yeah.
You having problems there?
Yeah.
What's going on?
Next one is going to be the Cardinals in Oakland.
No.
Mm-hmm.
Should be Ravens at Bills.
Ravens at Bills. Okay.
Yeah, Ravens at Bills.
It's right there. It's right there. You wrote it down. See?
Yeah, right here.
Yeah,
Ravens at Bills.
He doesn't have it down anymore.
You wrote it that way.
Yeah,
he wrote this.
Oh.
I didn't.
Hold on one second. There's what you wrote. See, that is what you wrote. Sorry, we're trying to decipher the notes here on the game.
Ravens and Bills.
Ravens and Bills.
Moving on, Ravens and Bills. I think the Bills are people give them credit for. This is actually a tough game to pick because they're playing in Buffalo.
Wowzer. Weird to me. Why do you already have 15 games down here? Shit, I don't know. Anyway, go ahead. Ravens and Bills.
Who did you pick that game?
I'm going to pick the upset. I'm going to pick the Bills. Pick the upset.
I picked them last week, and I'm going to ride that train again this week. I picked the Ravens.
I'm going to pick the Ravens too.
I'm picking upset.
I think I'm going to pick.
If I lose, I lose.
Cardinals
at Bucks.
This is no. I'm interested in seeing how Mike Glennon plays. I'm interested in seeing how Glennon takes the team, but I don't think. I think the Cardinals are a better team right now. I think Carson Palmer's helping them out. I think Fitzgerald gets some good touchdowns. Although he's kind of hurt, he's kind of banged up, but he's still playing out there. I picked the Cardinals though.
Pick the Cardinals as well.
I'm gonna pick the Cardinals also.
Having problems with the pick'ems?
Yeah, a little bit.
I've got it up right here.
Okay.
The bidet game of the week, and you say why bidet? I got it.
Okay.
Instead of toilet bowl because they're in England, so it will be the bidet game of the week. The Vikings and the Steelers.
Flip a coin.
Yes.
Both teams are really disappointing, especially Minnesota, because I thought they were a pretty decent team, but they just. Although, read this on NFL Network, and again, don't know how much confidence I have in what Tom Brady's saying in terms of this, but supposedly
bomb trading.
He's saying that Matt Castle will start Sunday for the Minnesota Vikings.
How the heck would
Maybe
you know that?
Maybe Matt Castle messaged Tom Brady.
I don't get it.
I don't know, but I'm pick the Vikings.
Oh.
I don't think Pittsburgh is.
They're both 0-3. They're both terrible. They both got to travel. I don't think it matters. I'm flipping a coin. I'll say the Steelers.
Where's the coin?
I'm gonna say the Vikings.
All right. The Giants at the Chiefs.
They're playing in Kansas City, and the Giants just don't look too good. Kansas City is probably the.
That's what it was.
Yeah.
You wrote Rams, etc. Okay.
The Kansas City Chiefs. Kansas City Chiefs are probably have the biggest home field advantage in the AFC. I picked the Chiefs.
I picked the Chiefs.
I'm picking the Chiefs as well.
Go Chiefs.
The Colts and the Jags.
Oh my God. They're playing in Jacksonville, and guess what? Seats will be empty. And this is not mine. I'll use it for another one. I picked the Colts. The Jaguars just pathetic.
I picked the Colts. This will be a wallop. The Seahawks at the Texans.
They are playing at Houston, so again, Seattle's not a huge favorite because they're playing on the road. But I do like what Pete Carroll is doing by having them practice 10 a.m. Pacific time to get their body clock working. And Houston hasn't impressed me, actually. They really have taken a step back. They barely beat San Diego. They almost lost to Tennessee. And then last week they just couldn't do anything offensively against the Ravens. I picked Seattle.
Houston, we have a problem, and his name is Russell Wilson.
Yes!
I picked the Seahawks.
I'm picking the Seahawks as well. That's pretty good.
I like that a lot.
The Battle of Ohio, the Ohio Bowl.
Round one.
Round one, yeah. Cleveland Browns against the Cincinnati Bengals.
Cincinnati. Not even close.
Cincinnati, and it'll be over at halftime.
Cincinnati, but it's going to be a closer game than what you guys are thinking.
You're going to get a barf bag.
The Chicago Bears take their 3-0 record on the road to Detroit and Ford Field to take on Matthew Stafford and the Detroit Lions.
The Nate Pizzaless Burleson.
Yeah.
I picked the Bears. I think the Bears are legit.
The Bears are actually epic.
They're winning a lot of close games, but I think it's that offensive line is surprising for the Chicago Bears.
I'm picking the Bears as well.
And when we come back from this break, we will wrap up Pick'ems and get into wrestling right after this. Stay tuned. Big B, Brandon DeMiro, Postmaster Jones, and the Doc. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Doc. Hey, Nick Dinsmore here. Do you have the dream of becoming a pro wrestler? Well, I did, and I came to Ohio Valley Wrestling. Join the Nick Dinsmore Pro Wrestling class today. I'm a former WWE superstar. I'm a former 9-time Ohio Valley Wrestling heavyweight champion, and I can train you to be the best today. For all the information regarding the Nick Dinsmore Pro Wrestling class, go to obwrestling.com and click on school. Join the Nick Dinsmore Pro Wrestling class today. obwrestling.com, click on school.
And welcome back here on the show. Postmaster Jones, Jimmy Biggers, Big B, Brandon DeMiro, and the Doc, Gary Lockard. We were knee-deep into Pick'ems, so let's keep on moving. The New York Jets, the surprising 2-1 New York Jets.
I think the Jets have a better record than the Giants.
Yeah, go figure that.
You picked that one, right?
Against Tennessee Titans.
There are 3 quarterbacks in the NFL this year without an interception. One is Alex Smith, one is Peyton Manning, and the other is Jake Locker from the Tennessee Titans. I picked Tennessee.
I like where you're going with this. I picked the Titans.
I, too, am going to have to pick the Titans.
Go Huskies.
The Washington Raiders Wait a minute.
Whoa.
The Washington Redskins go on the road to take on the Oakland Raiders.
Really. I'll say this much. I thought Washington played better offensively last week. Defensively, they can't stop anybody. They need to watch that Jim Harbaugh commercial because he's like, no one's tackling anybody. I think he's talking about the Redskins. They can't tackle anybody. I pick the Raiders. I don't like where the Redskins are going. I think the Raiders.
I'll say this. I like the way that Terrell Pryor played the other night before he got a concussion. Before he got walloped.
By Wesley Woodyard. Walloped by Woodyard.
Yeah, he got walloped. He got trucked. It was like hitting a Mack truck. But, however, Matt Flynn did show something good in the game the other night when he came in. He did throw a touchdown pass, and they are at home, so I'm picking the Raiders.
Raiders across the board.
I'm going to pick the Raiders as well.
What? No differences yet, is there, except for the Bills?
I don't think there will be.
Might not be. There's a lot of favorites this week. So, the Philadelphia Eagles.
Speaking of no defense.
The 1-2 no defense Eagles go on the road to Sports Authority Field in Mile High to take on Peyton Manning and the Denver Broncos.
Oh my God. Again, my point, he hasn't played a defense this year, and he's not playing one here. This is over at halftime, Denver.
We might see Brock Osweiler this week.
I see John Elway. He might have a suit and put a jersey on.
I'm taking the Broncos.
I'm taking the Broncos.
The Dallas Cowboys traveled to San Diego to take on Phillip Rivers, who's looked really good this year, and the San Diego Chargers.
I like the Cowboys. I thought last week they had a good passing attack against a really good Rams defense, I thought, but Dallas really showed them up. I picked Dallas.
How about them Cowboys? I'll take the Cowboys.
I, too, am going to take the Cowboys.
The Sunday Night Football game of the week, and probably the game of the week.
It's a
doozy. The New England Patriots go on the road to the Georgia Dome to take on Matty Ice and the Atlanta Falcons.
I said earlier that I can't see the 49ers going 1-3. That's why I picked them. I see the Falcons going 1-3. I picked New England. I think Gronk gets back, and I think that helps them win this game. I picked New England.
I think what we talked about earlier, and the fact that New England has barely beaten nobody teams, they're primed for a loss, and I think this is where they get it. I picked the Falcons.
I, too, am going to have to pick the Falcons for the exact same reason.
All right, so if I fall, I fall.
Monday Night Football.
Another good
game. The Miami Dolphins, the 3-0 Ryan Tannehill, Mike Wallace-led Miami Dolphins go on the road to Mardi Gras City in the New Orleans
Saints. WrestleMania 30.
Drew Brees.
I picked Miami last week in an upset, and they came through for me. Doing it again, pick Miami.
He's picking the Dolphins. I'll say this, they're not going into New Orleans house and getting out alive. I think Drew Brees eats them alive, and the Dolphins...
So Drew Brees had some tuna for halftime?
Yes. Okay. Have their first loss of the season. I picked the Saints.
I agree with that for that as well. I just think Miami is good. Miami is the real deal. But Sean Payton, the question of the year going in was if Sean Payton was going to keep the train running straight, and he has.
He's done a phenomenal job. It's like he wasn't even not there last year. He hasn't missed a beat. So that's Pick'ems for Week 4 this week. And with that, we now turn it over to our good friend, Mr. Brian Cannon, for this week's OVW Mania blog spot. Take it away, Brian.
Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Brian Cannon with another edition of OVW Mania. No special intros this week because it's been a really busy week. I'm actually filming this on location from my workplace and using my cell phone, so I'm trying something new this week. If you've read OVW Mania for the most recent report, which I'm going to go over, episode 736 of OVW, you'll see that I've scaled back my reports a bit because I've just been so busy for one thing, but it allows me to enjoy more of the action when I don't have my face buried in my phone, typing every single thing that happened during every match. So I hope everybody that reads it understands because there's a lot of work that I put into it, and I've always ran OVW Mania by myself. I've been doing it for I think probably close to a year and a half now, and I've always done it solo, ran everything by myself, and I've had everything from reports to breaking news to the top 20s I put out every week. So I hope everybody understands that, and that's why, like I said, I'm doing this report right now from work. So I'm going to try to buzz through this so I can get it to the Triple Threat guys to add to the show. But the latest episode was number 736. It was filmed last night, which was Wednesday, September 25th at the Davis Arena. It started off with Gilbert Corsi in the ring interviewing the new women's champion from the ladder match last week, Hannah Blossom. She said she was excited. That's what she had moved so far and worked so hard to get, was the women's title. Said that she was struggling, however, with the fact that she hadn't talked to Holly, who she had knocked off the ladder since last week. Holly Blossom came out and said she's had time to think about it and said that she truly is happy for Hannah, and they embrace. But the happy reunion is interrupted by Lady Tapa. Tapa says that Hannah has something she wants, and of course that's the OVW women's title, and wants to challenge her, and it looks like Hannah's going to accept, but Holly grabs the mic away and says, if you want my sister, you have to go through me first. So that set up the main event for the evening. Tapa said, I'll see you in my ring, my island later tonight. Backstage, and they cut in quite a few times throughout the night, the Miss OVW contest continued with a hula hoop challenge, and the hula hooping contestants were the lovely Lila, Jessie Bell, and Ray Lynn. Lady Tapa walked through and said, I don't hula hoop, but they said they would check in throughout the night to report on what was happening there. Whoever lasted the longest would be the winner. James Moose Thomas destroyed Ryan Howell. Timmy Danger told him to finish him off, but before he could, Jamin Olivencia ran out to run Moose off. And it looked like at that point it was definitely going to be James Moose Thomas versus Jamin at the next Saturday night special. Later in the night, Jamin had an interview backstage where he said that they were trying to put the bullseye on him, but he's going to put it right back on James Thomas and Timmy Danger. And he said that they can try to intimidate him, but he's going to intimidate them right back by challenging them for the heavyweight title at Saturday Night Special. So that has been confirmed now. The next match of the evening, the Pope, Elijah Burke, defended the TV title successfully against another member of the Marauders, Raul Lamada, despite the rest of the Marauders trying to interfere. Backstage, as the hula hoop contest is going on, Jay Bradley walks by and looks at lovely Lila and calls her a hot mess. He then gets shoved up against the lockers by Marcus Anthony, who's mad about his loss from last week. He said they will have another match at Saturday Night Special, and he can't get physically involved with Jay until then, but he's going to go out to the ring and show him what's coming to him at the Saturday Night Special. He comes out to the ring, and the VIP Club basically feeds Jay Best to him, and Marcus totally squashes Best, defeats him with the Gamma Punch. Jay Bradley, after the match, comes out to try to hit him with the boomstick, but Marcus turns around and hits him with a shoulder tackle. Jay rolls out of the ring, but then he grabs Marcus's feet, drags him down, and then hits his knee and his leg across the ring apron and then against the steel ring post and says, you've got your match at Saturday Night Special if you can walk. Jessie Bell in the back loses the hula hoop challenge because she gets distracted by Dylan Bostic, who has a cell phone out. I guess he was either taking pictures or recording them doing the hula hooping, which distracts her. The mobile homers are still trying to change their luck by playing lottery scratch-offs. And Hannah and Holly argue over Holly accepting the match against Lady Tapa later in the evening, and Holly says that even though Hannah's the champion, they're still a team. They're still sisters, and she's going to do this. The Best Team Ever comes out next, followed by the OVW Southern Tag Team Champions, Michael Hayes and Muhammad Ali Vaez. Rudy takes the mic first and says that they were frustrated about not winning the Nightmare Cup, so some things were said that, probably shouldn't have been, and he talks about how close him and Ali used to be. Ali says he can respect that. He says, but at Saturday Night Special, he said they plan on still walking out as the OVW Southern Tag Team Champions and cementing their name as one of the greatest tag teams in OVW history. Jesse Goddard takes the mic and says the only reason they're still champions, though, is because the Best Team Ever was not still a team. They were not around when Ali and Hayes won the belts. And Hayes then yells out that the reason that they're not champions is because Jesse had been running around in a bunny suit while Rudy had disappeared. So, naturally, tensions get high and they start shoving each other, and then the match starts between the captains, Ali and Rudy. Jesse and Michael end up getting into it again on the outside, and it spills into the ring. As referee Chris Sharp tries to get Michael Hayes back out of the ring, Jesse Goddard hits an enziguri on Ali, and Rudy rolls him up to get the 3 and the victory. Backstage in the hula hoop contest, the Marvelous Bodies, 4M, Mr. Marvelous, Melvin Maximus, and the Body Guy are watching the remaining contestants in the hula hoop contest. And the Assassin comes in and takes out the Body Guy. 4M runs off, and as he does, he bumps into Lila, which causes her to lose. So Ray Lynn was the winner of the hula hoop contest, and she was all excited, even though Lady Tapa, who was still back there, pushes her into a wall. She's still excited, still playing the dumb blonde role, that she won. The main event of the evening, Lady Tapa defeated Holly Blossom. She could have defeated her earlier in the match, but she wanted to make a point to Hannah, who was out on commentary, basically telling her, look, what's going to happen to Holly is going to happen to you too, and she's coming for the belt. So that was the main show. Don't forget the other dark match results and anything else OVW related. You can check out ovwmania.blogspot.com. Also, of course, ovwrestling.com, the main website. And a couple other quick notes. Congratulations to Michael Hayes. He got a WWE tryout this week. He was actually used on Raw as a security guard when Goldust and Cody Rhodes attacked the Shield. And then the next night before SmackDown, he was able to wrestle for them. And according to his family, he got some really great feedback and really great reviews. So hopefully big things on the horizon for him. And also, don't forget to follow Chris Sharp and Terry Bodie, who still do their part in helping retweet and share all my news and information for you guys. You can follow them at Ref Chris Sharp and at TP Bodie, TPBODDIE. And Chris Sharp said that soon he's planning on bringing out a second season of podcasts that will include Alex Silva and Ted McNaylor, among others. You can check out his wrestling podcast that only kind of has to do with wrestling by following him on Twitter and on Facebook. On Facebook, I think his name is Package Chris Sharp, so you can find him there as well. Follow him and listen to those awesome podcasts. Thank you to all you Triple Threat Talk viewers, all the readers of OVW Mania for tuning in each and every week. And that is going to do it for this edition. I'm going to send it back to the guys in the studio. And have a great week. We'll talk to you again next time.
All right. Good stuff as always. Thanks to Brian. We want to thank him. We want to thank Terry and Cheryl Bodie for all their outstanding work and exceptional help when it comes to the show and everything about it. And with that, we move right along to WWE this week.
I'm fucking the pick. When's the last time we picked Raiders across the board?
I don't think we've ever picked the Raiders across the board. I did not watch Raw this week.
You're watching the Sheriff go to work.
I was watching the Sheriff at work.
I was switching. I had picture-in-picture.
I was switching, but I don't have picture-in-picture.
I will say this, and I told him, and he laughed. I flipped over to watch Raw briefly 3 times. First time, Stephanie McMahon's on my screen.
Okay, it's one time.
Second time, Stephanie McMahon's on my screen.
2 times, that's okay.
And the third time I flip over,
no way.
Stephanie McMahon's on my screen.
Are you sure it wasn't? You didn't.
I'm like,
were you on pause?
Was this pause?
Did you rewind it?
Did I rewind? I'm like,
did you not hit live?
Is this the Stephanie McMahon Night Raw or something?
It's the Stephanie McMahon show.
I'm like, really? What am I watching here?
Raw for me wasn't as exciting as I thought it would be because it was taking place in Chicago.
Mm-hmm. Sweet home, Chicago.
Yes. Come home, baby, don't you wanna go back to the sweet old place? Sweet home, Chicago.
Thank you for that rousing rendition. Check out.
Hey, Blues Brothers are epic.
Don't forget to check out this Monday, Jimmy Biggers and Gary Lockett on The Voice.
Yes, we're gonna do our own Blues Brothers.
skulls. But yeah, Raw for me, taking place from Chicago, wasn't as exciting as I thought it would be. Chicago's a huge wrestling town. It wasn't, the greatest I thought. The biggest thing they had going was 11-on-3 handicap match between the Shield and all those other people.
Shield did themselves proud.
Yeah. They almost won, I think. Did they win or they lose?
They lost.
I thought so. The biggest thing for me personally from Raw was before the Shield got, to fighting at 11-on-3, Cody Rhodes and Goldust came out of the crowd and were attacking the Shield, and security had to pull them back. One of the security guards looked very familiar. It was one Mr. Michael Hayes, which is very exciting.
I did not catch that.
That was very exciting.
Very disappointed I didn't catch that.
His girlfriend, Casey, posted that online, and I had to watch it again, and I was definitely surprised by seeing Michael Hayes there. Had a clean-shaven look, and was holding Goldust back. It was pretty neat to see Michael Hayes there. I was wondering why they were in Chicago, and I saw why. It was pretty neat that he got that chance to do that. It's awesome for Michael.
Yep.
Can't be more happy about that.
Exactly.
One thing that I do want to bring to light. The last time we saw Daniel Bryan and Brie Bella together on television, the Bellas were fawning over him several months ago, and he wasn't having to do with any of them. Of course, that's the kayfabe version, okay?
Now he's engaged to Brie.
Now the last 2 weeks, the actual truth is coming out. I mean, people know that people that follow wrestling behind the scenes, that Daniel Bryan and Brie Bella have been dating for quite some time. Yeah. But I think it's interesting to note that they kind of didn't bridge the gap right there. He's not having anything to do with the Bellas the last time you see them together. And then, they jump from now Randy Orton last week, of course, Brie Bella hugging Daniel Bryan on his way to the ring, and this week Randy Orton saying all that stuff about Daniel Bryan to his girlfriend.
I think the reason they're doing that is because the popularity, so to speak, of Total Divas, and it got a lot of publicity, and they're saying how Brie and Danny were together, so they're kind of saying, you know what, it's out there, let's just do it on the show, because I'm sure they're fine with it, obviously.
Right.
They're engaged, they're going to get married sometime soon.
Definitely interesting to know.
Yep. So with that, do we have any...
before we move on to Wild Card and our Idiot of the Week, 2 more wrestling notes
Makes me hungry
from TNA, actually. 2 TNA notes.
TNA? Wait, whoa. TNA?
Two former WWE people.
Oh, you mean tits and...
Whoa! We're gonna have to beat that one, pal.
Who cares?
I didn't finish it.
Mickey James from WWE, and also Mr. Anderson and Kennedy, both from WWE. Their contracts expired, and TNA did not renew them, which is probably because they can't afford it. So,
and according to Jerry Jarrett, they should have been closed already.
Yeah, Jerry Jarrett was interviewed in an article saying, "I'm surprised they're still open," which is bad, looking at the father of obviously Jeff Jarrett. So Mickey James and Mr. Anderson both gone. Mickey James, I'm sure the door is always open for her to come back. I'm sure she will come back. As far as Anderson, Kennedy, it's a little bit dicey because of how he left. He threw Randy Orton down. Randy Orton got injured. Randy Orton complained, and he got fired. But I believe, don't quote me, but I believe Triple H is a Kennedy guy. So I think he might be coming back. We'll see what happens. He could be back at Rumble. Mickey James, I think, is a definite...
he can come back.
I think Mickey James can come back.
He can very well come back. Yeah. He can, when the microphone comes down, he can grab the microphone instead of going Kennedy. He could just go, "I'm a soul man."
You know what he could do? No. He could come back as Alberto Del Rio's new personal ring announcer.
Alberto! Yeah, that could
Del Kennedy!
No, he says Del Rio, then he pauses. Del Rio. No. I think it's Kennedy comes back. He'll come back and start wrestling. But Mickey James, I think, is for sure. Kennedy is up in the air.
Kennedy.
So that does it this week for wrestling and all the other stuff. Anyone have any wild cards?
Wild card.
I'm good.
My wild card is once again TV. This Sunday is the series finale of Breaking Bad. Definitely check it out. It's been a great show thus far. Also check out Boardwalk Empire.
Oh, yeah.
Boardwalk Empire.
That's a good show.
Boardwalk Empire is also on this Sunday. Also, the start of The Amazing Race again is on CBS.
Big Bang Theory.
Nashville started last night.
Big Bang Theory was good. Big Bang Theory was on Thursday.
NCAS was good. Another cliffhanger. It was a cliffhanger for 4 months, and we still get another cliffhanger.
Marvel Avengers of S.H.I.E.L.D. started to a great start.
Tuesday.
kind of dropped my expectations a little bit, but I'm always willing to give them.
It seems like this time of year now, there's a lot of TV stuff going on. Monday is obviously Raw.
Monday,
and
Tuesday,
football.
Happy Day.
Hawaii 5-0 will be starting up.
Hawaii 5-0 on Tuesdays. Fridays now.
Fridays, the death slot.
Death slot.
Yes, death slot. Tuesdays.
Might be good. Might be the end of
Wednesdays. Everything's good all the week, pretty much.
A lot of good stuff.
So,
TV. It's always good stuff to get TV watch.
Well, that's my one wild card.
We have an idiot of the week.
Oh, I know we do.
He might be the idiot of the year.
Again, no, he's not the idiot of the year. But
he's up there pretty high.
I feel bad for him because he broke his arm, but I don't feel bad the way he did it because it's kind of stupid.
So, Nate Burleson.
Yes.
Former Seattle Seahawk.
Yes.
Which you didn't know. And he did not know.
You didn't know that?
I forgot.
He did not know. I knew it and he did not.
Impressive.
I forgot.
I know. So,
slipped my mind, fella.
He's driving and he decides I'm going to go pick up some pizzas.
What time was it?
It was around 2 in the morning.
Someone's at the Munchies.
So no alcohol was involved.
Okay.
So
That's alcohol.
I'm just saying. It was around 2 something in the morning. He's driving. He apparently swerved to miss something.
Was it a cat?
From what I gather.
Cat? Dog?
He reached over
Squirrel
to grab the pizzas that were sliding off the seat.
How many pizzas were there?
Apparently 2.
Just 2?
Yeah, just 2. Upon doing that, he crashes his vehicle and breaks his arm. Not trying to save a baby, not trying to save his wife or another human being.
Maybe it's football.
Or a football.
Oh, okay.
Pizzas.
Well, again,
must be some damn good.
Now, here's the answer. Say, I have 2 problems with this one. One, the pizzas must have been really good. And 2, if he doesn't save those pizzas, the pizza goes all over his car.
And I'll say this.
That's hard to get off.
I told you before. He is a millionaire, and he could easily afford to go back to Tony's or wherever.
Tony's? But there are children starving in India who would have loved to have had that
I
pizza.
understand that, but what you gotta understand is the man makes millions of dollars.
Millions.
And he could have easily let that pizza go.
Millions of men.
And it would have been better served to let the pizza go, have the car paid to be detailed and get new pizzas, than break his arm. Now he's out of action for like 6 to 8 weeks.
But again though, what if he got the pizzas when they closed and he can't go back?
Well, that's too bad.
Now he's going to bed hungry.
He shouldn't have been driving like an idiot. So with that, Nate Burleson and your pizzas and your pizza blunder, you are this week's Triple Threat Talk Idiot of the Week.
That does it for the show this week. Thanks, everybody. If you want to like us on Facebook, please.
Get that out,
Please click that like button at Facebook.com/TripleThreatTalk. Follow us on Twitter. Please click that follow button at Triple Threat Talk on Twitter. Send us any comment or question you have at Triple Threat Talk, and of course your blogs at triplethreattalk@yahoo.com. Once again, thank you to Liz Matthews from ESPN 710 in Seattle. This is Big B.
This is Postmaster Jellins. I'm thinking about getting the band back together.
This is Gary, Dr. Locker. We can find them at the lounge. And I'm challenging next week one new viewer to write some questions. We know we have thousands and thousands. I find it hard to believe that only 3 of you are submitting content.
You know what it is?
We're intimidated.
Nobody wants to talk to Big B.
This is Big B signing off.
Can you blame him?
This is Big B signing off, and I'm going to go get some pizzas. Hopefully I don't break anything. We'll see you next week.
Have a good night.